Hey guys, Dan here from Your Guitar Academy, and thank you again to the wonderful people at Guitar Control for having me. I'm delighted to be able to bring you the third video in this series where we're learning this really nice acoustic piece. Now, it's all about developing your fingerstyle, and it's kind of like a beginner's journey, but it's not easy. We established that last time. So far, we've got to here. Okay. And let's just remind ourselves how this song actually pans out. And remember, when you're listening to this, the whole point is that the acoustic fingerstyle bit that we're playing is underneath. It's a simple 4-bar loop. And over the top of that, we start to bring in all this other stuff, okay? But you are learning the really cool bit that flows all the way through the track. So let's have a listen. Okay, so we're now dealing with the third bar, which in its most basic is just a D major chord. Okay, so we're kind of going from a G major, which is the 1 chord of the key of G, to an A minor, which is the 2 chord in the key of G, to a D major, which is the 5 chord in the key of G, and then we're going to come back. We're going to resolve it back to the G. I'll talk about that in the next lesson. But essentially we're doing the 5 chord, so the D major chord, but we're going to do it in a really cool way. So this bit sounds like this. Oh, it wants to go somewhere, doesn't it? Oh. Okay. That's the part that we're going to be playing. And essentially, all of that is D major. And let me show you why all of that is D major. Here, this chord here, if you just analyze these 2 notes that we're playing here, we've got the F sharp and we've got the D. Now, an F sharp and a D, they're the root and the major third of a D major chord. Okay? Okay, so in that we've got the F sharp and the D. All we're doing is inversing it so that the F sharp is on the lower end and the D is up the higher end. Okay? And in between that we've got an open G string, which although not being in the chord of D major, it is a note that works perfectly well within it. Remember, we're in the key of G. So G is a great note to be putting into any of your chords. If we look at that and we analyze that in terms of an interval from the D, the G is the 4th. So we're essentially playing a sus4. Not sus4, an add4, or something like that. Add 11. Whatever it is, it doesn't really matter. We've got the root, we've got the 3rd, and we've got the 4th, adding just a bit of a color note on top of that. If you ask me, that just sounds fantastic. It's really built from this idea of this C-shaped cage chord, but rather than just going to that and sounding a lot like Red Hot Chili Peppers, etc., I wanted to do this, okay? The only other thing to mention here is I am actually doing the low A string, which of course is the 5th in the key of D, okay? So or in D major chord, the A is the 5th degree. So again, that open A string is just part of the chord. So all things said and done, it's like a D major chord, but we've added in the 4, okay? That open G string. And then when we do these fancy things, okay, really in my mind, this is just working melodically then, just taking 6ths, which are intervals, okay? These are 6th apart, okay? All right, they're 6th apart. I'm not going to get into that in too much detail now, but what I do know is that I can always, if I'm doing that D, I can throw that little kind of substitution in there, if you like. It's just working a melody. It's absolutely classic. Dating back to kind of old rhythm and blues, Steve Cropper style stuff, Booker T and the MGs. You know, I think you probably heard that. This is it's just using notes from the G major scale that work as part of the D. Sorry, I should say D major scale that also work perfectly in this key of G. So what I would say to summarize that little bit there is that there's your core chord, the D major with the G, and these are just a really nice way of using sixths in a melody. Okay, all the notes using G major scale notes. Okay, so let's get into this particular part. Okay, so it sounds like this. Okay, so we're going to start with this D major chord as we talked about it, and I'm going to play the low A string and the B string. So again, same thing still with the right hand. We've basically started every bar doing that, the A string and the B string, or the E string and the B string, depending on where the root note is. But notice I am fretting it like the D, so I'm not going like just like that. Okay, I am fretting it like that, so I've got that chord on. Because then I'm going to play with my thumb the D string. And we've got exactly the same thing we've done in the first bar, same pattern with the right hand. D, G, B, D. So it's like double, D, G, B, double, D, G, B, double, D, G, B. So that will be our first process, just to get that, you know, exactly as we've worked on in the past few lessons. Then we're going to move up to the kind of the melody part. So we're going to do, again, the low A and the B string, but now we're on the 5th fret, okay? And although I'm not ever going to play that note specifically, it doesn't happen to get played, I just like having it there so I remember that this is basically the progression that I'm working with, because it's a cool one to remember, okay? So I'm going to go, and this is very specific here, I'm going to go 5, so I'm going to pluck those two together, then the G string, okay? So I play that on my first finger, move that shape up, just play the 7th fret, just play the B string, and then the G, and then the open G string. So you get this. What I like about this here is it's quite dissonant, and you know why it's quite dissonant, because this note here is the 7th in the key of G. So we're playing the root note on the G string, and we're playing the 7th, which really just wants to go and resolve, okay? But that's exactly what it's going to do in a second. In the next video, we're going to resolve it. So for now, we're looking to create a little bit of beautiful tension, natural tension, okay? Tension we all need in our lives. We've got to have tension, otherwise how can you have release? So philosophical. So this part, sorry. And then we will resolve to that G. So let's just loop that part a few times. So 1, 2, 3. And now let's put that with the other 2 bars. So we'd get this. E4. Let's do it one more time. 4. And that will take us to the last bar, which we'll do in the next lesson. So remember guys, just go through that at your own pace. It's not easy by any means, it's very fiddly. Make sure you're doing exactly the same as me with the right hand, copying me with the left hand, and just gradually, you're gonna start to get a better feel for how that right hand moves. Okay, that's what it's all about, just the feeling of feeling comfortable with the right hand. And remember, you can get the tab, the full worksheet for free with the link under the video. And as well as that, if you're really interested in learning fingerstyle guitar and you wanna make a proper inroads and go head on into the subject, then we've got a fantastic course and you can find that in the link below, led by the masterful Thomas McConville, who's one of the best fingerstyle players I know. He works with us here at Your Guitar Academy and it's amazing. So check that out if you like. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next lesson.